Hare Krishna, Dhanvat Pranam to all the devotees. Jai Shri Prabhupada, Hari Bol, thank you Ritesh Prabhu, Vishwanath Prabhu, Pawan Prabhu, Meenakshi Moini for leading the chanting this morning. We'll continue with our Mangalacharan, prayer of the week, and then reading of Prabhupada Leela summary. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshuranmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminati Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshitarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktarinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Anybody would like to sing Hari Hari Bifale, our prayer of the week today? Okay, hopefully you're able to see the screen share. Yes, anybody would like to sing? If not, then I will continue. Amaresh Prabhu, you want to try?
It's a bit difficult. I'll give it a shot.
Yes, please. Hari Bol. Thank you.
This is a difficult one. Hari 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 Vifal Janama Gunenu Hari Hari Vifal Janama Gunenu Manusya Janama Paya Radha Krishna Nabhajaya Manusya Janama Paya Radha Krishna Nabhajaya Janiya Suniya Visakhaino Janiya Suniya Visakhaino Hari Hari Vifala Janama Guneno Golokera Premadhana Hari Nama Sankirtana Golokera Premadhana Hari Nama Sankirtana Ratina Janmilo Kenetai Ratina Janmilo Kenetai Samsara Visanale Divani Sihiya Jwale Juraite na koi nu pai Juraite na koi nu pai Hari Hari Vifala Janama Gunenu Rajendra Nandana Jai Sachi Sutta Holo Sei Rajendra Nandana Jai Sachi Sutta Holo Sei Valarama Hoilo Nitai Valarama Hoilo Nitai Dinahina Jata Chilo Harinama Udharilo Tara Sakshi Jagai Madhai Tara Sakshi Jagai Madhai Hari Hari Vifala Janama Gunenu Aha Prabhu Nanda Sutta Rasabhanu Sutta Juta Aha Prabhu Nanda Sutta Rasabhanu Sutta Juta Karuna Koroho Eibar Karuna Koroho Eibar Narottama Das Koi ना थेली हो रंगा पाए তোমা বিনে কে আছে আমার তোমা বিনে কে আছে আমার हरि हरि विफल जनम गुनेनु हरि हरि विफल जनम गुनेनु. हरे कृष्ण.
Hare Krishna. That was so beautiful. Thank you so much, Amrish Prabhu. Narottam Das Thakur Mahasaya would be smiling. He was smiling, I'm sure. I was looking at my deities here. Nityananda Prabhu's energies, Narottam Das Thakur. He was smiling. Like I said the other day, it's always, when we are, it's like you imagine walking through the little kunjas of Vrindavan, and like at every step you'll have some saint singing. So like that, your singing is like that. Just everything stops. So thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण.
Very nice. Yes, anybody would like to read? Actually, today you can read the purport. Special Prabhupada. There are two classes Prabhupada has given on this beautiful bhajan. So let's read one of the purports today from Hamburg, Germany in 1969. Anybody would like to read?
I can read, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Meenu Mataji.
Hari Hari Bifale Janama Gonenu. This is a song sung by Narottam Das Thakur, very stalwart Acharya in the line of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Sampradaya, disciplic succession. He has sung many songs, important songs, and his songs are accepted as Vedic conclusion. Very authoritative songs. So he says, praying to Lord Krishna, my dear Lord, Hari Hari, I have simply spoiled my life. Hari Hari Bifale Janama Gonenu. Why you have spoiled your life? He says, Manushya Janama Paya. I got this human form of life, Radha Krishna na bhajiya, but I did not care to worship Radha Krishna. Therefore, I have spoiled my life. And how it is exactly like one takes poison knowingly. If somebody takes poison unknowingly, there's an excuse. But if somebody takes poison knowingly, it is suicidal. So he says, I have committed suicide simply by not worshipping Radha and Krishna in this human form of life. Then he says, Golokera Prema Thana, Hari Nama Sankirtana. This Krishna consciousness moment, Sankirtana moment, is nothing material. It is directly imported from the spiritual kingdom known as Goloka Vrindavan. So Golokera Prema Dhana, and it is not ordinary song. It is just the treasure of love of Godhead. So, but I have no attraction for this. Ratina Janamilotai. I have no attraction for it. On the contrary, Vishaya Bisanale, Diba Nishi Hiya Jwale. And because I did not accept it, therefore the blazing fire of the poison of the material existence is constantly burning me. Diba Nishi Hiya Jwale. Day and night, my heart is burning on account of this poisonous effect of material existence. And Tari Bare na koi nu upai. But I did not seek any remedy for this. In other words, the remedy for this blazing fire of material existence is the Sankirtana movement. It is imported from the spiritual kingdom. And who has imported it? Who has brought it? Then he says, Brajendra Randana Jai Sachi Suta Hoilo say, Brajendra Nandana, the son of the king of Braja, that is Krishna. Krishna is known as son of Nand Maharaj. He was the king of Brajabhumi. So Brajendra Nandana Jai, the same personality who was formerly the son of Nand Maharaj, has now appeared as the son of Mother Suchi. Sachi Suta Hoilo say, and Banram Hoilo Nitai, and Lord Balram has become Nityananda. So these two brothers adventing, they're delivering all kinds of fallen souls. Papi Tapi Jata Chilo, as many fallen souls there were within this world, they're delivering them simply by this chanting process. Harinam Udharilo, simply by this chanting. How is it possible? Then he says, Tara Sakshi Jagai and Madhai. The living example is the two brothers, Jagai and Madhai. These Jagai and Madhai, two brothers, they happen to be born in a Brahmana family, but they turn to be debauched, number one. And of course, nowadays, in this age, their qualification is not considered debauch. Their debauchery was because they were drunkard and woman hunter. Therefore, they were called debauch, and meat eater also. So, but they became later on delivered by Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda and great devotees. So Narottam Das Thakur's explanation says that in this age, although people are drunkard, woman hunter, meat eater, and all, gambler, and all kinds of sinful actors, still, if they take to this Krishna consciousness moment and chant Hare Krishna, they will be delivered undoubtedly. This is the blessing of Lord Chaitanya. Then Narottam Das Thakur's praise, Ha ha Prabhu Nanda Sutta, Vrishabhanu Sutta Juta, my dear Lord Krishna, you are the son of King Nanda, and your consort Radharani is the daughter of King Vrishabhanu. So you are together here standing. Narottam Das kahe, na the hilo ranga pai. Now I'm surrendering onto you. Please do not kick me away or push me away with your lotus feet because I have no other shelter. I am just taking shelter onto your lotus feet without having any other means. So please accept me and deliver me. This is the sum and substance of this song. Updated April 1st, 2009.
Narottam Das Thakur ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Amaresh Prabhu and Meenu Mataji ki jai. You want to say anything, Mataji, that you like from this song?
Yeah, Prabhuji, this is a very beautiful poem, a beautiful song, prayer actually. We are repeatedly asking Lord that we are full of shortcomings, we are materially very corrupted, so please deliver us, please give us the intelligence to rise above this material world, and chant Hare Krishna in Mahamantra, so we can be purified. Our souls are, Satchitanand. So we are the one, when the rain falls, the rain is pure, but when it falls on the ground, that's where it becomes contaminated. And that's what our souls have become. So we need to purify ourselves. And the only way delivered is by the mercy of Krishna and by chanting the Harinam Sankirtana. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Hare Krishna. Yes, in this day and age, all of us are like Jagai and Madhai, if not worse. Like this song, this particular prayer, Narottam Das Thakur is saying, Prabhupada is explaining, everybody in this world is like Jagai and Madhai, even worse than that now. So it's also funny. You can if you see these words carefully, it's like also a awakening for us. Jag, like Prabhupada is telling Narottam Das Thakur, अरे बाबा जागो जागे and mad है अभी mad है हम लोग लेकिन हमको जगा रहे हैं. And also there is also AI here for those who are following AI. So in this next age of there's going to be only AI, right? So even AI is going to be very interesting. But yes, this is the age of AI. This is the age of Jage and Madhai. So we are all mad and we have to awaken our consciousness. And who comes to deliver? Krishna comes himself as Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as Nityananda Prabhu. And in this age, after 500 years now, it is their pure devotees are coming as acharyas and they are enlightening us. It's like every century, there are these pure souls that the Lord sends for us, and it's like again, it's the mercy and compassion of the Lord that personally, of course, He's there in His holy name. It's just that we don't have the taste, so we don't understand. But once we start chanting consistently with love, attention, then we will feel the presence of the Lord, presence of our acharyas. Even like Prabhupada says again and again, I will live forever in my books. So even though He's not physically, but we can feel His presence every day, when we are chanting. So, but all these acharyas come even physically to help us. So these moments when they are around us physically, by following their instructions, we can feel the presence, we can feel the connection to the Lord. And this is kind of the mercy of the Lord that they are there here for us. So they're guiding us back home, back to God. So if we don't utilize this human form of life and we don't utilize this time that we have right now and get serious, then yes, we will miss the bus. So like they say, in Vrindavan, we have come to Vrindavan, the engine is there, and we are like the dabba, the compartment. We just have to attach ourselves to the engines. These acharyas are the engines. We have to attach our compartment to these engines, then the engine will take us home, right? The dabba, the compartment doesn't have to do anything. We just have to attach. We just have to attach ourselves, that's it. So attach ourselves to the holy names, attach ourselves to these instructions. Haribol. Yes, so the same mood Prabhupada has come. Now we saw yesterday. He has come to America through Jaladuta. So, like I said, yeah, these acharyas come to deliver these fallen souls who are intoxicators, meat eaters, woman hunters. Even in the Western world, we saw a practical example of this prayer exactly. All the people who were completely, lost in their lives, hippies. Such people were transformed by the purity of the holy name, by the purity of the pure devotees of the Lord, pure Vaishnavas. Okay, so let's continue. Chapter 15. It will not be possible to assist you. Prabhupada, having obtained an extension on his visa, stayed on. America seemed so opulent, yet many things were difficult to tolerate. The sirens and bells from fire engines and police cars seemed like they would crack his heart. From his first days in the city, he had noted that the smell of dog stool was everywhere. From his room, he would sometimes hear the horns of ocean liners, and he would dream that someday he would sail around the world with a Sankirtana party, preaching in all the major cities of the world. A lot of discouraging news poured in from all sides. Negative news from Tirtha Maharaj, Indira Gandhi, Padampat Singhania regarding the construction of a wonderful temple for Radha and Krishna in New York. These days of struggle were real enough and very difficult, but his transcendental consciousness was always predominant. He was not living in Manhattan consciousness, but was absorbed in dependence upon Krishna. Just as when on the Jaladuta he had suffered his heart attacks, his reading of Chaitanya Charitamrita had supplied him the nectarine of life. The city went into a state of emergency, but Prabhupada continued his daily walks. Now he had to walk through heavy snow. Only a thin dhoti beneath his overcoat, his head covered with his Swami hat. The city went into a state of emergency, but Prabhupada continued his daily walks. Now he had to walk through heavy snow, only a thin dhoti beneath his overcoat, his head covered with his Swami hat. Certainly, he wanted to provide Radha and Krishna a temple in New York. But his success was that he was remembering Krishna, even in New York City, in the winter of 1965 and 66, whether the world recognized him or not. Not a day went by when he did not work on Krishna's book, Srimad Bhagavatam, and not a day went by when he did not offer food to Krishna and speak on Krishna's philosophy of Bhagavad Gita. Lord Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, "For one who sees me everywhere and sees everything in me, I am never lost to him, and he is never lost to me." And Krishna assures his pure devotees that my devotee will never be vanquished. There was never any doubt about this for Srila Prabhupada. The only question was whether Americans would take notice of the pure devotee in their midst. At this point, it seemed that no one was going to take him seriously. Chapter 16. Free to preach. Srila Prabhupada moved from room 501 downstairs 2 floors down to a room of his own, room number 307. According to Dr. Mishra, Prabhupada moved in order to have his own place, independent of the Mishra Yoga Society. One of Dr. Mishra's students had donated a reel-to-reel tape recorder, and Prabhupada recorded some of his solitary bhajans, which he sang to his own accompaniment of hand cymbals. He also recorded a long philosophical essay, Introduction to Gita-Upanishad. Even if no one attends, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur had told him, "You can go on chanting to the 4 walls." But since he was now free to speak his message in the new situation God had provided, he decided to lecture 3 evenings a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, to whoever would come. Prabhupada's mood was always one of urgency. Sometimes he talks quickly, and one senses his desire to establish Krishna consciousness in the West as soon as possible. He has no followers, only a few books, no temples, and he openly states that he is racing against time. So behind the formal delivery of Krishna conscious philosophy is an anxiety, an almost desperate desire to convince at least one soul to take up Krishna consciousness immediately. Now the constrained situations of Butler and the Ananda Ashram and Dr. Mishra are behind him. He is free to speak about the absolute truth in full. Throughout his life, he has prepared for this. Yet, he is still discovering the best ways to present Krishna, exploring his Western audience, testing their reactions. Prabhupada is discussing the real meaning of going to a sacred place in India. One should go to a sacred place in order to find some intelligent scholar in spiritual knowledge, living there and make association with him. So one should go to such holy places not simply to take bath in the water, One must be intelligent enough to find some spiritually advanced man living there and take instruction from him and be benefited by that. I shall be very happy to return to my Vrindavan, that sacred place. But then, why are you here? Now, because it is my duty, I have brought some message for you people, because I have been ordered by my superior, my spiritual master. Whatever you have learned, you should go to the Western countries and you must distribute this knowledge. So, in spite of all my difficulties, all my inconveniences, I am here because I am obligated by duty. Srila Prabhupada explained how Lord Chaitanya states that a person has at his command four assets: his life, money, intelligence, and words, at least one of which he should give to the service of God. The Paradox at 64 East 7th Street on the Lower East Side was a restaurant dedicated to the philosophy of Georges Osawa and macrobiotic diet. It was a storefront below street level with small dining tables placed around the candlelit room. The food was inexpensive and well reputed. Tea was served free, as much as you liked. More than just a restaurant, the Paradox was a center for spiritual and cultural interests. Harvey Cohen and Bill Epstein were friends. Harvey was a freelance artist and Bill worked at the Paradox. After Harvey had been to Prabhupada's place at Dr. Mishra's yoga studio a few times, he came by the Paradox and began to describe all about the new Swami to Bill and other friends. Swamiji moved from room 501 to room 307, but it was never meant for use as a residence or ashram or lecture hall. It was only a small, narrow office without furniture or a telephone. There were no facilities here for cooking or even for bathing, so daily he had to walk to Dr. Mishra's apartment. Prabhupada wanted a big place, and a big place meant a big price. He had no money, and Robert Nelson had only his unemployment checks. Still, Prabhupada was interested. If he were to find a building, that would be a great step in his mission. Chapter 17 On the Bowery. Someone broke into room 307 while Srila Prabhupada was out and stole his typewriter and tape recorder. Prabhupada suspected that it could be the janitor himself to be the culprit. Prabhupada had lost his spirit for living in room 307. Then Harvey offered Prabhupada his studio on the Bowery. Prabhupada's loft, 94 Bowery, was 6 blocks south of Houston Street. Harvey Cohen had used the loft as an art studio, and racks for painting still lined the walls. A kitchen and shower were partitioned off in the northwest corner, and a room divider stood about 15 feet from the Bowery side windows. It was behind this partition that Prabhupada had his personal living area. A bed and a few chairs stood near the window, and Prabhupada's typewriter sat on his metal trunk next to the small table that held his stacks of Bhagavatam manuscripts. His dhotis hung drying on a clothesline. If a guest entered during a kirtan or a lecture, he would see the Swami about 30 feet from the entrance, seated on his dais. He was translating Srimad Bhagavatam into English, speaking to the world through his Bhaktivedanta purports. He went on with his translating and with his constant vision of a Krishna temple in New York City. Often, he would refer to a scriptural statement that people live in 3 different modes: goodness, passion, and ignorance. To live in a temple of Vishnu is to live in the spiritual world Vaikuntha, which is transcendental to all 3 material modes. Prabhupada's old friend from uptown, Robert Nelson, continued to visit him on the Bowery. Mr. Robert brought a small American-made hand organ similar to an Indian harmonium and donated it to David for chanting with Prabhupada. At 7 in the morning, Mr. Robert would come by, and after Bhagavatam class, he would talk informally with Prabhupada, telling his ideas for making records and selling books. He wanted to continue helping the Swami. Prabhupada held classes thrice a week to train the American youth in the matter of Sankirtan and devotional service to the Lord. He explained how this process of spiritual realization, once begun, guarantees one to have his next life as a human being. Prabhupada still had hopes for getting assistance from his godbrothers in India. This mission is not simply one man's work. Karl's interest in Sanskrit made Prabhupada give Sanskrit classes, but later their interest in Sanskrit waned, and Prabhupada gradually gave up Sanskrit classes as he thought it is better to utilize his own Sanskrit scholarship in translating the verses of Srimad Bhagavatam into English, following the Sanskrit commentaries of the previous authorities. Almost all of Prabhupada's Bowery friends were musicians or friends of musicians. They were into music, drugs, women, and spiritual meditation. Because Prabhupada's presentation of the Hare Krishna mantra was both musical and meditative, they were automatically interested. For the Bowery crowd, sound was spirit and spirit was sound, in a merging of music and meditation. But for Prabhupada, music without the name of God wasn't meditation. It was sense gratification. But he was glad to see the musicians coming to play along in his kirtans, to hear him and to chant responsively. Karl saw that people just felt good being in the Swami's presence and meditating on the chanting and eating the Swami's cooking. It was unlike anything they had experienced before. One serious newcomer was Michael Grant. Mike was 24. Mike said, "Well, here is someone talking about God who may really have some realization of God." Carl, Carol, Gunter, Mike, David, the crowd from the Paradox and others join him on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday night when he holds classes beginning punctually at 8 o'clock. The program consists of half an hour of chanting Hare Krishna, followed by a lecture from Bhagavad Gita, usually 45 minutes long, then a question and answer period, and finally another half hour of chanting, everything ending by 10 o'clock. When he speaks, he is pure spiritual form. The Vedic scriptures say that a sadhu, a saint, is not seen but heard. I'll repeat that. The Vedic scriptures say that a sadhu, a saint, is not seen but heard. For the Bavari crowd, sound was spirit and spirit was sound in a merging of music and meditation. But for Prabhupada, music without the name of God wasn't meditation, it was sense gratification. But he was glad to see the musicians coming to join kirtans and chant responsively. The Swami's main stress is on what he calls dovetailing your consciousness with the Supreme Consciousness. Krishna is the Supreme Consciousness, and Arjuna, as the representative individual consciousness, is asked to act intelligently in collaboration with the Supreme Consciousness. Then he will be free from the bondage of birth, death, old age, and disease. Prabhupada had a mission, and Karl's loft didn't seem to be the right base for it. Prabhupada's friends all agreed he should move more into the center of the things. The Bowery and Chinatown were too far out of the way. They would find him a new place. Forced by conditions, he accepted as Krishna's mercy. Prabhupada sat patiently, trying not to disturb anyone, yet speaking about Krishna consciousness day and night. Karl assured him that with a half a dozen people searching, it wouldn't take long to find a new place, and they would all chip in together and help him with the rent. Mike felt obligated. He was good at getting things done, and he wanted to do this for the Swami. So the next day he went to the Village Voice, got the first newspaper of the press, looked through the classified ads until he found a suitable prospect, and phoned the landlord. It was a storefront on 2nd Avenue, and an agent, Mr. Gardiner, agreed to meet Mike there. Karl and the Swami also agreed to come. Mr. Gardiner and Mike were the first to arrive. Mike noted the unusual hand-painted sign, "Matchless Gifts," above the front window. It was a holdover, Mr. Gardner explained, from when the place had been a nostalgic gift shop. The Swami's main stress is on what he called dovetailing one's consciousness with the Supreme Consciousness. Krishna is the Supreme Consciousness, and Arjuna is asked to act intelligently in collaboration with the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. Let's read this chapter. Prabhupada had the idea of making Mr. Gardiner the first official trustee of his fledgling Krishna Consciousness Society. During the conversation, he presented Mr. Gardiner with a 3-volume set of his Srimad Bhagavatam, and inside the front cover, he wrote a personal dedication and then signed it, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. Mr. Gardiner felt flattered and honored to receive these books from their author himself. He agreed to become a trustee of the new Society for Krishna Consciousness and to pay the society $20 a month. Now it was time to move the Swami into his new place. At the loft, they all gathered up portions of the Swami's belongings, and then they started out on foot up Bowery. It was like a safari, a caravan of half a dozen men loaded with Prabhupada's things. Michael carried the heavy Roberts reel-to-reel, and even the Swami carried 2 suitcases. They did everything so quickly that it wasn't until they were well on their way and Mike's arm began to ache that he realized, why didn't we bring a car? The Bowery artists and musicians saw him as highly evolved. The Swami and his young friends reached that corner of Bowery and Houston, turned right and proceeded east, gazing steadily ahead as he walked. Prabhupada saw the southern end of 2nd Avenue, one block away. At 2nd Avenue, he would turn left, walk just 1 block north across First Street, and arrive at his new home. And he passed the IND subway entrance. The storefront came into the view. Matchless Gifts. He gripped his suitcases and moved ahead. At 2nd Avenue and Houston, he hurried through a break in the rapid traffic. This new address would be the place where he would actually get a footing with his International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Matchless Gifts Ki Jai. Yes, these are the matchless gifts that only pure devotees can give us, they bring from the spiritual world, and they have come to give us the gifts. And who doesn't like the gift? But somehow, in our material consciousness, we are not willing to accept these gifts. Like Prabhupada is saying, there are only very few who are interested, genuinely interested in receiving these gifts, even though they are free and for our utmost, ultimate benefit. Still, people would not hear. Like Prabhupada says one lecture, that we come, like he has come, and all these acharyas come, and they're coming here, they're just saying, take up, this is a simple process, just chanting, dancing, feasting, but everybody, like people in this world generally, they're saying, what nonsense is this, what are you trying to say, I'm not interested, I will just enjoy, and then I will end my life. There's nothing after life, right? Many people believe, like they feel like there's nothing after life, so they just want to do their sense enjoyment, enjoy as much as they can to their heart's content. Even if they try to do that, still they're not happy, right? Because they still want to do more and more and more, and still at the end you will not be happy, right? I was remembering one, nothing like, it's not a direct correlation, but just something similar, where there are people who are successful. Like I was recently, maybe a couple of weeks ago, I came across a video of Lata Mangeshkar, and how she was saying that she, as we all know, she was she was called the Nightingale of India, right? She has such a beautiful voice, and such a gifted musician and singer. And she was in her last days of life, she was remembering that how much she has acquired in terms of name, fame, right, wealth. She had very expensive cars at her home. She had so many beautiful saris in her closet. And but in the final days, she was in the hospital, and she was remembering that all those cars that are there, nothing. I'm not going to ride in any of those. All those beautiful saris that I used to wear, now I'm in this hospital gown, right, the dress, and I cannot change this, right? And the voice that I had, that is gone, and she had all these tubes and everything in her body, pierced, and so the only thing that she had instead of the car was the wheelchair. Now she was in the wheelchair, right? So like that, ultimately, no matter whether you are the most popular person on earth, the most beautiful person on the earth, most powerful person on the earth, ultimately we know what the condition will be after just few years, maybe 10 years, 20 years max, 70, 80 years, 100 years at the max, right, that we can live. But the end is going to be the same for everybody, and still people are so proud and arrogant and think that nothing will happen to them. As Yudhishthira Maharaj says, the most fascinating thing on this planet is that everybody is seeing around them that their parents, their grandparents, their relatives, their friends, they are all passing away one after other, but yet people think that nothing is going to happen to them. So what kind of foolishness, but what kind of amazing thing that is, that nobody believes that anything is going to happen to them. But yeah, that is the irony, and these matchless gifts that these acharyas give us, help us, and we have discussed again and again. It's just very common sense. We see again and again that so many kids are born. Some kids are just aborted in the wombs of their mother. Some kids are born after just few months. They are suffering with poverty. Some kids are born in these third world, where there are where the wars going on, and they are suffering. They've lost their parents. Like what did these kids do? I mean, some kids didn't even come out from the mother's womb. How can you say they have some karma, right? If people believe that what I do is what I'll suffer, or I will not, or I don't believe in the karma, but they have not done any karma in this life. So that means something for sure is carrying on from before, right? Which is making them suffer, right? Again, and we as Vaishnavas are always paradukha dukhi. So when Vaishnavas and acharyas come, they are always their suffering. They don't consider their suffering. Like Prabhupada, he had heart attacks at the age of 70. He's not considering his suffering, his inconvenience, but he's paradukha dukhi. He is saddened by the plight of the people around him, of people in the West, where this human civilization is heading. So they are coming to share this compassion, with everybody. But we are so ignorant that we have no inclination or taste to take up to this process. So Yeah, I mean, that should be our mood also, that we should make our lives perfect first, or at least try to get onto the path first sincerely, and then try to help others around us by sharing whatever we have learned so far. Even a drop helps. So yeah. Okay, anybody else would like to say anything, share anything, any reflections, realizations? Aarti Mataji, anything you want to say? We've not heard you for some time in the morning. Okay, maybe busy with morning duties for the kids. Anybody else would like to say anything? Pawan Prabhuji, Shriya Mataji. All right. Okay. No comments. Then we'll pause here. Thank you so much for your.
Oh, you covered everything.
Narayan Prabhu.
No, you covered everything.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you. Okay, so we'll pause here and we'll end with Vaishnavanam prayers. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyeva cha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha Anantakoti Vaishnavrind ki jai Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki jai Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol.
Hari Bol. Sorry,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna,
Balram
Prabhuji.
was crying. I had to come to other rooms. So sorry. Couldn't
No,
engage.
no. Okay.
Hare
We'll hear from you tomorrow, hopefully.
Ji,
Okay.
Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.